Hey everyone. So in the last video, last week, we brought everything together with databases so that we were able to execute database commands from within a PHP program. We looked at four statements, update, insert, delete, and select, but we only looked at how to send three of those statements. We left off the select statement. So that's going to be what we're going to do this week. We're going to look at using the select statement in our programs. In this video, I'm just going to talk about something called associative arrays, which is we need to understand what associative arrays are and how they work in order to use the select statement. So that's why we're doing this little detour into another feature of the PHP language. And it's a feature of the language that you won't have seen before, but it exists in JavaScript and it exists in other languages under different names. So if you take a look at the handout here, we're in section 4, associative arrays. PHP actually just calls them arrays. It doesn't use this term. So it's this information in W3 Schools is just under PHP arrays. Arrays can be used in two different ways in PHP. We saw the standard way, which was using an index from 0 to 5 to store things. But you can also use it in an associative way. So associative means that it associates keys with values. So that's what arrays always do, right? An array will associate like the key 1 with the name Sam and the key 2 with the name, Bob and stuff like that. What an associative array does is it says, hey, what if we didn't just use integers for the keys? What if we could associate with as the key the name Sam with the score 105 and the name Bob with the score 28? When you're doing that, it's an associative array, also known in Python as a dictionary. You may or may not have seen that in your Python class. They also exist as associative arrays in JavaScript and as hash maps in Java. So when you get to your data structures class, you'll take a look at hash maps in Java. So I'm going to do this just with by generating some example code in front of you. So what I've done is I've got I'm in my htdocs folder. Oh, I don't have XAMPP running yet, so I'll just start it up. I only need Apache for this. I don't need SQL. And I've taken from this week's code, there's a folder called select, and I've taken that whole select folder and put it inside of htdocs. So I should be able to get to it here by going localhost / select. Okay, and the example I'm going to work on is scratchpad.php. This is a new file. I just copied the template over and renamed it. So if you want to catch up with me, you might want to pause, make sure your environment's set up. This is what Scratchpad looks like. And I will do a view page source as well so that we can see that. And then I'm going to put over here in VS Code, I have the Scratchpad program here to take a look at. So we already know that we can create an array like this. So I can create an empty array and I can use array push to add things into it, and it will get numeric keys when I do that. But I'm also allowed to use non-numeric keys. So let's do the example that I just said about scores. Sam equals 105. $A, sorry, getting my syntax wrong, should be $A, and then in the brackets where you would normally put a number, you can put a string. Bob equals 99, like that. And then if I just do a var dump of $A, it's going to show me, whoops, that was a mistake. It's going to show me over here the array. Before I do that, actually, I'm going to put a pre-tag around this. So again, this tag allows me to it shows the raw output of the whole thing, which is kind of cool. Do it that way. Okay, close enough. Oh yeah, I should put the PHP like that. That's the problem I'm having. There we go. Now it looks nice. So what this is telling me is that variable A is an array with 2 items in it, and it has one index Sam and another index Bob. So if you var dump a normal array like $B equals 1, 2, 8, -5, like that. And then var dump that. It will echo out. It'll look like this. So as far as PHP is concerned, these things are both arrays. One of them just has numeric keys, and you can see that number 0 is an integer, which has a value of 1. Array element 1 is an integer which is value 2, and this one is an array that has non-numeric keys. Okay, so the key values here, the keys are unique. If I try to assign again, like to Sam, it works just like a regular array would. -5. That's going to overwrite what was there. So the first time I assign to a key, I'm creating that key, and the second time I assign to it, I'm going to be overwriting what's there. So this is -5. And of course I can do stuff like this. I can go $A Bob -5. So maybe Shift F. So maybe Sam's score was just 5 less than Bob's, and that works too. So Bob's score is 99. Sam's score is 94 now. One little error that you can get is this one here. So here, these strings here are case sensitive. So I put a lowercase Bob. There is no lowercase Bob in the array. So I get an undefined index error on line 16, undefined index Bob. So it doesn't know that index. I have to fix it like that to get that error to go away. Another thing that you can do, let's do another array. We'll call it $C. Just like you see how here I created an empty array and then started adding things to it. Here I created an array just in one row by saying what things I wanted in it, and it automatically assigned indexes 0 through 3 to that. I can also do this. I can say I want, let's do an array of people's ages. So Rosa is 5, and Max is going to be 8 tomorrow. It's his birthday tomorrow, so by the time you see this, you'll know that he's 8. These are my kids' names. So there we go. I've just created an associative array with 2 entries in it, and I'm using this weird arrow operator, which is an equals and a greater than sign, to print that out, to make that association. So now I go var dump $ages, like that, and boom. Okay, and I can use these array elements the same way that I would use any other array elements. Let me do down here, let's I'm going to do another PHP tag down here. So that was my pre-tag. Let's do another one down here. And this one, there we go, that's better. In this one I'm going to use an echo statement. So say you want to echo out Rosa's age. Rosa is, this is one way to do it. Use the dot for concatenation, $ages Rosa, like that. I should actually, let's put this in a paragraph element. So then I'll have to concatenate /p onto the end like that. Save that, reload. Rosa is 5, so Rosa is $ages Rosa. I can also do it this way. Let's do Max this time. Max is $ages Max, like that. Okay, if I read, is that going to work? Yes, that does work. So what's different about this is that when you're inside a double quoted string, remember I can put variables in here. If it's going to be an array variable, you don't put quotation marks here, which can get kind of confusing, because normally anywhere you want to access an array element, you have to put quotation marks around its key. So when it's outside of a string, but when it's inside a double quoted string, I don't put the quotation marks. Okay, and of course you have to make sure that the string that it's inside of is a double quoted string. If you use a single quoted string, it does not interpret. It just prints out $ages Max. Okay, so you want to do it like that. You can also do stuff like this. You can go echo Sam's score was. And then if you say you want to do something like this, it's going to be hard to motivate this maybe, but sometimes you need to put an expression inside the brackets. So say you want to do, you know, the string SA plus concatenated with the string M or something like that. So I need to put an expression in there. If you need to do something more complicated like that, you can embed the whole thing inside curly brackets. So curly brackets allows me to put something more complex in here like that, and this will work. Sam's score was 94. Oh, and you can also do something like this. Name equals Bob. So if you have a variable with the name in it, that needs to be a semicolon there. You can do an echo of Bob's score was $A, $name, like that. So that's okay, that'll work. Bob's score was 99. Okay, so lots of different ways, lots of different support for outputting the contents of these arrays. There's also a for loop for this, the for each loop. You say for each, let's do $ages as $name, $value. I think I'm getting an error here. Unexpected for each. That's an interesting error. I don't know if you can see what the error actually is. Sometimes with this kind of error, it pops up on the line below where the problem actually is. The problem is actually here, the semicolon. It wasn't expecting to see for each there because that doesn't make sense in this statement. I need to end the statement before I can do the for each. So this is a special for each loop for associative arrays. So when you have an associative array, actually it'll work with any array. We'll do this. You go ages, so that's the name of the array, $ages, as, and then the key goes here and the value goes here. So I'm creating two new variables, name and age, and I can do this. Echo P $name is $age years old, like that, /P. And that will go through the whole ages array. Let's add a third one here. Let's add their friend Lily, who just turned 10. So now we'll see Lily as well. So down here, Rosa is 5 years old, Max is 8 years old, Lily is 10 years old. The order that you get things in may not have anything to do with the order you entered them. In this case it does, but that order is not guaranteed to be preserved. So this, when you're in an associative array, these things may come out in any order. Okay, let's go take a look at the handout here. So this is showing you how to create one way to create an associative array. Here's the other way. I'm mixing and matching types here just to show you that that's possible. And here you can access the values like this. So if user access, because it's going to be false or true. Here's stuff about echoing things. You can use the curly brackets. You can do it this way. There's the for each loop. And here's the error that you can get from having an undefined index. That's all. That's it. There's another bunch of code called associative arrays as well, which contains the sample code from class, which you can run. This one has a nice example actually of, so I've got a user array here which has a student ID and age. It's almost like a little object. In fact, associative arrays are closely related to objects. So in an object-oriented context, we would create an instance variable for student ID, age, and access. Here I've just got them all as keys in an associative array. And then I create a table here with a table heading row, and then I use a little PHP scrap to use a for each loop to create the table rows. So if you want to see what that looks like, if I go back here and into associative arrays, it looks a little bit nicer because I've got a CSS file that is linked to here, the style sheet. That's the var dump, and then here is the table that I created that I output using the student IDs here. This could be useful in your assignment, something like this. Okay, there are a couple of exercises that I'd like you to try. The first one is pretty straightforward. Just create an associative array and echo its contents out. And the second one, what I want you to do here is create an associative array from user input. So there is, in the select folder inside the inside this week's code, this module's code, there is a names.html file which lets you enter some names here. And then when I submit them, you can see they get sent as get parameters. Name 1, name 2, name 3, name 4, name 5. I want you to receive those using filter input. Create an associative array that associates each name that the user entered with a random score from 1 to 100, and then use a for each loop to display them. Again, this might be helpful for the assignment that's coming up. So that's associative arrays, and now we're going to move on in the next video to look at the select statement and see how it makes use of associative arrays. So I'll see you in that video.